Sometimes I hate my former friends, though I suppose I hate them more than anything else. That feeling you get when you miss people, when you think you want them around. It should fill you with joy because seeing them again should mean something. But no, for me, those former friends just meant work. I work all day, laboriously. I go out and I get the job done because I get the job done. Then I come home and I have to deal with so much stagnation. And all I ask is that I be in the company of those who are constantly trying to grow. But no, God forbid they do that. Instead, they feel insecure about their inability to grow. They need everything to stay the same because the same is comfortable. And I am a creature that violently needs to change, that constantly needs to evolve. I can't wait for the people who want things to stay the same because I'm not even the same today that I was yesterday. Each moment, each second of internal deliberation, each new thing written down onto a page is a transformation of the self, and they were done. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with being comfortable with where you are in life. There's nothing wrong with not wanting to go further. Being safe, that's an end point you want to reach, but instead, rather, you say, you're happy there. You say you're happy there, and then when the opportunity comes to let a person leave and find their own happiness, you get upset. You demand they stay in this place where you want to stay the same, but they want to grow. They want to be more. They want to do something else, and all you want them to do is misery because you're stuck and you feel a little bad about the fact that you can't go much further. And the reality is that you can, but you gotta be afraid to lose. You gotta be afraid. Sorry, you can't be afraid to lose. You gotta be willing to lose because sometimes losing is the only way you learn. But they refuse. And even though I took things slow, even though I gave them plenty of time to stay ahead, I found that I was catching up to them because while I was going at a snail's pace, they weren't going anywhere. They were fine, and that was great for them, but come on. If your only way forward is by latching yourself on to someone else, then all you're really going to try to do is hold them back. And when you are going forward and you are going in different directions, there comes a time when you say, you know what? We're not going to be able to continue with each other. I bid you would do and hope you good tidings so that sometime down the road I think about how I miss you and I just drop in and see how everything is. But I can't with those people. They were fine where they were. And so I look forward and I see myself looking back, going back to work after working all day. I'm like, no, I've worked quite a lot enough. At least at my job, I get paid for what I do. Hmm. I tire. And I wouldn't have to, you know. I do tire. I think about how often I'm the one who has to be like, no, this is done. If all you're going to do is tell me poorly made lies, then let's end this facade. Ugh, it's so much work to believe in the lies people tell for their sake. Not for yours, never for yours, because yours would imply you're happy to be at a job all day. Ugh. I got too lost in the metaphor there for a moment. Work, yes. Believe in their lies so that they may continue to be the exact thing they are. And it's like, bro, I've been so done with that for so long now that I've just kind of been here, but not here, but in a different place because I got too used to being around people I couldn't really talk to. And when I try, you can offer me nothing. God, you can offer me nothing. Instead, you tell me to be the lie you want me to be. Be the story you want to tell, and well, that type of story stays still. I am not fine with people telling their own stories. I find it sacrilegious when you try to rewrite somebody into a worse version of themselves. But I am at least respectful enough to leave the auditorium when the story is not for me. You can't be a main character and be happy with where you are. But while I can say that, you're the main character of your own life. Your life could be whatever story you want it to be, but for that to work out, you have to be willing to let someone who doesn't belong in that story go somewhere else. I think back, I think about how we're supposed to miss someone, but I don't miss how any of those interactions would go. Because ultimately, the only place they did go was to me being torn down so they can feel like they're being built up. And so I took it slow so that they could find themselves and find their place, but it looked like they were happy with where they were. And I would not be happy for eons. I don't know where their paths are going. I feel like it could be going into a positive direction, but it does require them to remove that character who always sucks so that they can feel good. Like, no, you really do have to accept that you lost. Ask yourself why you lost. Don't blame everyone else for why you lost. And then go on. God's above. Life isn't easy. It's especially not easy where I came from. You have to learn some hard as lessons. And sometimes the hardest part of those lessons is that all the worst parts of it aren't really what matter. All of those failures aren't what matter. What matters is successes more than anything, because it means that things can still move forward. Life is difficult and sometimes you just won't get your way. But that'll be all right because it'll still be pretty good in the end. You gotta lose so that you can win, because every loss is a moment. But, well, if you avoid loss, you miss out on all of those moments. In the final moments of that friendship, they did much of what they did before. The same sort of thing of, I'm feeling insecure right now, so you have to play the weak one so that we can feel better. You have to be the incompetent one so that we can feel better. And it's like, how long does this go on? It has been 10 years. It has been longer than that. It has been the totality of your presence in my life. And since the day I met you, you have been that sort of weak. And so I had to be strong enough to keep going despite you. And it felt like you would only allow me to keep going if you got to take credit for it first. How many times did one of you steal from me? How many? How much did you take pride in it? How much did you want to live and say, well, hey, he never found out. So what could be the problem? I don't know how you fools work, frankly. Other than maliciousness, other than bullying. I don't know why you do that, but you do it. And I'm like, okay, but how far does it get you? Like I said in the video to family, if you're going to hate somebody, get rid of them. If you only keep a person around to say, oh, I'm not bad because I didn't kick them out, I didn't break up with them, it's like, oh no, you are actually the worst type of person. Like, you're so bad that the last guy I dated was essentially what you are. It was, oh no, just pretend to be what I want you to be. Just do that and then I'll keep you around. And like, it got so bad. It's like, oh, well, don't you want this? Oh, you said you wanted that, but you can't do it. It's like, Wow, you didn't hear a word of what I said, did you? You thought that just because I showed interest in this prospect that I was married to it, that it would weigh more than my discomfort, than my ultimate exhaustion being around. You thought that what? Oh, you'll give me a morsel of food later, and that will be all it takes for you to keep me around, right? You'll give me a gift I did not ask for, stained with all the bad stories you have to tell. And I'll be like, oh, golly gee, thank you, Miss and Mister. Were it not for this, I swear I starved out there in the wild all by myself. Thank you. Thank you so much. It's like, really? Like, oh, wow. Ugh. You're the type of bad, so bad that I could believe my ex spoke to you at a point and thought that if he just followed the same strategy book that you did, it'd work out somehow. It's like, no, it wouldn't. You actually need me to like you, you know. Fucking starvation tactics, as if I have not willingly starved before. You. Mm. Yeah, I do not like them. Whenever I think back, I think just, ugh. I allow this ugliness for so long. And y'all did not do one thing to distinguish yourself from all the ugly I had seen before. No, what you were going to do is try to convince me that your ugly was actually all right. And I should agree to your ugly before I ever try the ugly of someone else. I could believe my ex talked to them because that was a level of stupidity that I have only seen in the blind. And it's like, you're so convinced of the story you're telling yourself that you refuse to accept where this is going. You refuse to see things for how they actually are. You would happily live a lie for that long? Like, I think my ex certainly would. For him, it was like, oh no, he really, really, really wants to get married. And he's afraid that he won't get married before a certain age. So, well, he's just going to turn the person he's dating into the person he wants to be with. And like, you just look for somebody who will be always agree. Look for a person who has no interiority. Look for a person you think you're writing over. And every time it seems that you're not, well, then push back. Push back just hard enough. And that'll win for you in the end. Hmm. God, I've met so much stupid out there. In just, damn, how many years has it been? 2 years since I've been going. I have seen your variance repeat so much. That's like, there was nothing stopping me from getting this elsewhere. You could have brought something else to the table. But no, you adopted that same miserable state that I lived around forever. And it's like gods, truly gods. What would you do in my situation? And like, well, Yahweh would flood the world. And it's like, well, I can't take a page from Yahweh's book. I'm better than him. So Anansi, well, the lesson he learned is one I learned far before I reached his age. Older gods in Anubis? Yeah. But also, no, that makes about right. That's about right, actually. Yep, experienced death at a young age, had to come to terms with it, had to interrogate the cycle of life and death, understand karma and such and so forth. Like, yeah, no. That's a death god, isn't it? That is, in fact, a death god. It's like, ugh, I don't want to be a death god. But actually, no, I do, I suppose, because I prefer endings. And that's sort of what I've been talking about at this whole point. It's like, I don't want to stay where I am. I want to continue moving forward in mind, in body, in spirit. I want to transform. And the only people I will allow to stand with me are those who can transform as well. Perhaps I should learn something from Goku's book then, Damn, who would have thought? I'll review the text later and think about what I can find from it. And think about what it means to be that person who wants to keep going. Because where we started and where we ended up isn't good enough. One of them, my cousin, so stuck in the family dynamic that because family members were talking about how I got a new car, this car would be enough for me. As if this is not just a tool to reach my next destination. And in that, I suppose the cousin, the aunts, the uncles, the other friend who made a big deal about how my first car had crank handles. It's like, yeah, but that first car also got me from one place to another consistently for years at a time. And the second one is doing the same. It is letting me live. And it's like one day the goal is to be in a place where I can get a new one. And I can take care of that from the box and let that carry not just me, but those who come after me forward. You get stuck on the idea of this car not being the coolest car, not being the nicest car, and you miss that the very point of a car in the first place is to be able to take you places. And I have gone places. And it's nice to be able to go places. It's nice to be able to do that and not have to turn around and ask the people behind me why they didn't go there. There are several times during this where I thought to myself, yes, this next line is going to be the final one. But no. Because I think of that and thinking of where my car has taken me. I thought of how I went to ASIN last year And how cons are a lot for me. I can't really do them, they're far too crowded. But I did like going to ASIN with the people I went with. And a former friend, I went to Youmacon with her and didn't like that at all because it felt very much to me like she didn't really want me around. This was not her Youmacon dream, and that's ultimately fine, you know? Like, yeah, no. Don't invite me if you need it to be. I don't want to, especially not while I'm grieving, be around a person who doesn't want me around. Because now I'm sensing the fact that you don't want me around, and it's just making the grieving worse. And before that, it was a friend saying, well, why didn't we ever do that? It's like, let's be real. You didn't want to. Let's be real. That was never the plan. We didn't do these things together because we were not people who did these things together. And so, in short fashion, well, beyond short fashion, it was simply just time to go. Ugh. I truly have not yet wrapped my head around it yet. The last guy, the person before that, the terrible girl before that. A situationship I've dealt with this past year is like, you guys waste people. You see beauty, and your first thought is, how can I hurt this in front of somebody else? I don't really get it. And I'm the misanthrope. But no, that's kind of it, isn't it? Just the way the conversation goes, the way I think back and like, damn, if the story here was different, I'd have come back. But I left in the first place because it wasn't. And if I stayed, I would have never gone down the roads I've gone. I would have never come to love and lose and realize that despite the loss, I won something else that day. Transformation of growth. Seeing the world for the first time and understanding that it is so stupidly messy. And what's the point? The point is that you're supposed to see the mess and say, you know what? This is how I can live in it. Instead of saying, oh, well, no, I'm not a messy person at all. It's like, yeah, it's the ones who never want to clean up after themselves that always say they didn't make a mess. And certainly the ones who want to blame that mess on someone else. Me, I'm not going to blame y'all, my mess on y'all. It is one I should have cleaned up a long time ago. The fact that good people are hard to come by. And those who are determined to police whether or not someone else is being good are the worst ones of all. It's such an old lesson that it's even in the Bible. And we can go back further than that. It is in the very principle of karma, which will come up again. Not what goes around comes around, but what is around affects what is around. I'll end it there, actually. And did I say this yet? That this is another episode of the Spoke Lord Nashu, where today I talk about friends and what missing them should be like. Did I say that? Well, either way, I would be delighted if you were to join me once again